hear from you that the Philippine economy will take off this year, your optimism for tangible improvements in the Philippine employment rate and business confidence. I understand that the recent survey conducted by the Social Weather Station in November 2010 revealed that 93% of Filipinos surveyed said they are entering 2011 with hope, which is up from 2009's 89% and just 2 points off the peak of 2002. Mr. President, may I ask given this newfound optimism, what would be the key economic development priorities and programs of the Philippines in the next 3 to 5 years?
May we just explain a little about the numbers that you have just cited. 2009 was, they conducted the survey, we were expecting elections in 2010. And I guess the sense of optimism then being expressed was that there was going to be a change in the leadership. And 2010 did produce, I hope, the complete opposite of what my predecessor represented. And again, hopefully they will prove the truism in the School of Economics that says there is a sub-school called the School of Perceptions, and if people perceive things will get better, it will tend to have there will be a tendency to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay. The economic, may just state the economic principles that we abide by. For too long, businesses have been treated as somebody perhaps to be pillaged rather than somebody to help nurture, because this sector provides the jobs, provides the revenues that empowers government to be able to do what it has to be done. So towards that end, the direction has been very, very clear. We will be friends with the business community. We will partner them. Of course, ethical business practices are essential to this. Seeing them as partners for the growth that we want to achieve. So towards that end, we have been trying to minimize the red tape that really burdens a lot to the community. For instance, there was I use this example a lot, we keep it in mind. There was a road, not too big a road. No? It was 82 kilometers in length. It wasn't even going to be built, it was just going to be rebuilt. It took them 10 years to construct the project. And the reason for that was 2 years of actual construction, 8 years of negotiating the bureaucratic red tape maze. So we are committed, for instance, in this private-public partnership program for the proposals to be adjudged whether necessitating approval or disapproval within 6 months, which means that we have gone through the entire regulatory process. We want those that are ready to partner with us to be facilitated in gaining profits for their entities and thereby gaining, ensuring their continued stay in our country and being partners in providing the jobs, which was our first campaign promise. We are also, the private-public partnership program also envisions to provide the infrastructure necessary to fuel the growth that we do need. There is such a dearth, and if we rely on government services, in time we will be able to provide all of these needs. But the in time portion might indicate generations rather than years. Now, we had a launch of this PPP program last year. We got 700 interested parties to attend to it. We were expecting 300. We expect to bid out the first 5 by the end of this month, and the 7 of the 12 priority for this year before the year ends. Okay. This frees our national budget to address the social concerns that are still existing in our country. The idea being, we will not rely on a trickle-down approach to alleviating poverty in our country, but we will be applying more and more direct interventions by the state to alleviate the conditions and the plight of our poor. Let me just check my notes in case I've forgotten other aspects. We also want to be as transparent as possible in the decision-making process, because we pledge a level playing field where closeness to the powers that be is not the main determinant of who gets which projects approved, but rather the soundness of the proposal and the intended benefits will be the overriding concern as to which investment opportunities we will concentrate in further attracting to our country.
Yes. There's a question that I would like to follow on. What are these sectors that these PPP projects will address?
It's basically infrastructure projects. There is a dearth of infrastructure, for instance, in the transport sector. Metro Manila is composed of roughly about 12 million in population, with the attendant problems of such a dense population segment residing in this limited area. There have been relocation sites, for instance, for informal settlers that have brought them farther away from livelihood opportunities. So amongst the projects that I'm really very keen on seeing accomplished are light rail systems in 3 directions to have greater mobility between these places and the center of economic activity in the Philippines. There are ports that are both air and water ports that are also being envisioned, a rail system to cover the vast expanse of the country, and various energy projects and dams as sectors that we will be focusing on for this private-public partnership program.
We have one more question here. The Philippines and Singapore have diplomatic relations for 42 years. As we celebrate this 42th anniversary, what is the administration's cornerstone for this development of the closer bilateral relationship and also in the context of ASEAN?
In the context of ASEAN, we are close neighbors. By air, we're just 4 hours away. We are both island states. No? We have a little bit more islands. The connectivity issue is so essential. The idea of standing alone makes us easy to be pushed around by some of our bigger neighbors. So there are common interests, there are common problems, be it the global climate change, be it the question of ensuring the safety of our sea lanes. And there is power in numbers. We, together in ASEAN, we are a sizable economic bloc. We are the fuel that we are fueling the growth of the entire economy of the world. And it behooves all of us to work closer and closer together. So we view the continuing relationship as complementary in nature. Areas where we have comparative advantages, we would like you to exploit. And areas where you have the comparative advantage, we would like to be able to benefit from this advantage that you possess. The end point being, we do not look ourselves as apart from the rest of the ASEAN community. We find ourselves more and more, shall we say, in tune and identifying with the rest of our ASEAN brother states in addressing the concerns that are common to all of us.
Thank you very much. I understand that you have a pressing commitment for the next appointment, so I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the organizer to thank you very much for spending time with us.
And I thank you for this opportunity.